Now, thanks to Direct Line Landlord Insurance, today we're discussing the ways in which landlords can add value to their properties. And with us to explain more is Kate Faulkner, Managing Director of propertychecklist.co.uk. So, Kate, why should landlords look to add value?
Well, it's incredibly important because effectively, I always try and get landlords to understand this is not about property. This is about you have a pot of money and you want to make it into a bigger pot of money. And there are lots of ways that you can do that with property. That's one of the reasons why it can work so well. So we know that it's harder to make money from property than it has been in the past. We're not necessarily seeing the price growth that we did before. We're seeing more tax coming in. So it's really important that than ever before, it's not easy money in property now. So you've got to maximise your rental income and you've got to maximise your property's value. And the better your property value, the better access you'll get to better mortgage rates, which means the lower your costs, which means the higher your profits. So you've really got to look at every single angle of how to make money now and make sure that you maximise your returns.
Are there any easy ways to secure more value from rent rises?
Yeah, there absolutely is. So believe it or not, one is so simple. Basically, a tenant now stays in a property on average, according to the English Housing Survey, for over 4 years. And what they want is, it's not like the old days where you and I might have rented, may I say, Clive, where it was pretty much a dump and it wasn't very nice. But people are living there, it's their homes, and they want nice things. So just decorating a property and making sure it's freshly decorated every couple of years, even if your tenant's in there. And things like nice appliances, for example. Having any damp or poor finishes is really unacceptable in the market these days. And you can often not let your property and then you'll have no rent for a month. So you've already lost £500,000 and that's all it would have cost you to have actually decorated the property in the first place. So things like en-suites, people would pay more for bedrooms with en-suites, things like that. So again, it's thinking about what is it your tenants want and how do you get the maximum money from them? And also, how do you let 12 months a year? Because that's not always easy.
And does that actually add to the value of the property?
Well, it can do in two ways. If you've got a very good performing property from a rent perspective, if you decide to sell it on, you could sell it on as a going concern, and the better returns, the more likely you'll sell that for example. But secondly, I think in the past, maybe if you're doing something like buy-to-let, you've just thought about maximising the renting and taking that value. But now, because you've got increased things like the stamp duty, I think you've got to look at your property. It's a box. And how can you rent that box for a while? But what could you do? Could you add some extra space? Would that allow you to rent another room, for example? Even one of my favourites is, might there be a building plot available? Could you build a property from scratch? If you do that and you do it well, it might be worth instantly, it goes onto the mortgage market, 30% more than it cost you to physically build. So it's all about taking a detached home, for example. Is that house going to maximise the value, or could you split it into two flats? You've got to really think about it being a box, but slightly think outside of the box, all the different ways you can make money from it.
And what steps should a landlord take before they decide to go ahead with the works?
Well, you've really got to get very good costings in terms of what is it actually going to cost you to do this work, not forgetting that if it takes 3 months or 6 months, you won't have any rent coming in. So that's the first thing. Can you cope in that scenario? And also, then what you've got to think about is, can you get an instant value uplift? If you're spending tens of thousands of pounds on an extension, will that instantly upgrade the value of the property? And does that mean you can go on to better mortgage rates, or you can borrow more money? How are you actually going to finance it? So you've got to think through, what are the costs of getting it done, including the time it takes, and also then what are the increased returns going to be, either in the property's value or its rental income, or both, and make sure that they stack up.
OK, well, thank you very much, Kate.
Pleasure.
And thanks to Direct Line Landlord Insurance. For more information and for the chance to win a tech bundle, go to lbc.co.uk.